Hello, friends. Welcome back. Today's story is about life, focus, and trusting yourself to find the right path, even in the darkest times. Let's enjoy this inspiring journey together. In a quiet village nestled between rolling hills, there lived an old farmer named Thomas. His life was simple. His days were spent tending to his fields, caring for his animals, and chatting with his neighbors. Although he wasn't wealthy, Thomas found contentment in the rhythm of his days and the peace of his surroundings. He was known in the village for his wisdom, often sharing thoughtful advice with anyone who sought it. One evening, after a particularly long day in the fields, Thomas lit his old lantern to guide him home. The night was unusually dark, and the sound of crickets filled the air. As he made his way along the narrow path, the faint sound of someone sobbing reached his ears. Curious and concerned, Thomas followed the sound until he came across a young traveler sitting by the side of the road, his head buried in his hands. The boy looked up as Thomas approached, his face streaked with tears. "Who are you, and what brings you here?" Thomas asked kindly, holding up his lantern to illuminate the boy's face. "My name is Daniel," the boy replied, his voice trembling. "I've been traveling for days trying to find a village where I can start a new life, but I've lost my way. I have no money, no food, and no idea what to do next." Thomas listened intently, his weathered face soft with understanding. "The road ahead can seem daunting when you don't know where it leads," he said. After a moment's thought, Thomas handed his lantern to the boy. "Take this," Thomas said. Daniel looked at the lantern, puzzled. "But how will this help me? It only lights a few steps ahead. I need to see the whole path." Thomas chuckled and sat down beside him. "That's the beauty of it," he said. "You don't need to see the entire road to move forward. The lantern lights just enough for you to take the next step, and then the next." Life works the same way. Focus on what you can do now, and the rest will become clear in time. Daniel hesitated but accepted the lantern. Thomas offered him a place to stay for the night and shared a simple meal of bread and soup. The warmth of Thomas's home and words gave Daniel a glimmer of hope. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight broke through the sky, Daniel set off with the lantern in hand and a newfound determination in his heart. He didn't know exactly where he was going, but for the first time in days, he felt like he could keep moving forward. Years passed, and Thomas continued his quiet life in the village. He often thought about Daniel, wondering if the boy had found his way. Then one day, a messenger arrived at Thomas's modest home with an invitation to the nearby town. The letter was signed by someone named Daniel, now a successful merchant. Curious, Thomas traveled to the bustling town. When he arrived, he was greeted by a well-dressed man who beamed with joy upon seeing him. It was Daniel, no longer the lost boy Thomas had met on that dark night. "Mr. Thomas," Daniel said, bowing deeply, "I owe my life to you. That lantern you gave me not only lit my way that night, but also taught me how to face life's uncertainties. Step by step, I rebuilt my life, and now I've achieved more than I ever dreamed." Daniel led Thomas to a grand banquet and presented him with a beautiful lantern made of gold. "This is a small token of my gratitude," he said, "but no gift could ever repay the wisdom you gave me." Thomas smiled and placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. "The lantern was never magical, my boy. What mattered was your courage to walk forward, even when the path seemed unclear. Remember, the light we need often comes from within." Lesson: life is like a dark path. We don't need to see the entire journey ahead to keep moving forward. By focusing on the next step, Even the most uncertain roads can lead to success. Trust in yourself and take one step up at a time. The way forward will always reveal itself. If you learned something valuable today, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. See you next time.